Hey guys, Josh Koch here with my good friend Billy Glisson, who is the founder of POWERCORE 360. You guys might have seen this device floating around on social media. I reached out to them, gave this a try, and let me tell you, this thing is a game changer. Today we're going to be talking about a trail hip loading drill that I use and that I added to my routine using the POWERCORE 360. All right, Billy, so loading the trail hip is something that as a long driver, I'm always trying to get more efficient at. From your expertise, talk about what's actually happening in that process.
Yeah, as you turn into your backswing and your hips turning into the right internal rotation, we're trying to get your hips, your quad, your calf, and everything to turn and load into the ground. Oftentimes with a lot of guys, their right hip doesn't turn into internal rotation and then doesn't turn into external rotation. They can't load into those big, strong muscles of the hip to turn with power.
All right, so basically, we're gonna do a test here. We're gonna identify if I am good or bad in internal rotation, and then you're gonna recommend an exercise to go with that.
To improve it.
All right, let's test it out.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna look at right hip internal rotation. To take your right foot right in the middle of that 90-degree angle, all your weight on your right foot, tiptoe on your left foot. We got a shaft across the front of the hips. It's going to stay there, and you're just slowly going to turn to your right. And what we're trying to see is, does this shaft, the blue one, actually get as far as we did with the right one over there on the ground? It doesn't. So you're limited in your ability to turn into your right hip. That's also going to limit your power, your rotation, your distance.
Okay. All right, so we got the hip harness on. What's your best drill for internal rotation?
Yeah, so we're going to hook on the right hip since it's the right hip that's deficient.
All right.
The band angle is important. I'm going to get about 45 degrees out in front of the body, band on the ground. Okay. All you're going to do is push your right foot into the ground on the inside of the right foot, okay, and take your right hip back out of the way, okay? And we're going to do 10 of those really slowly. Really push into the ground with your right foot, keep the inside of the right foot into the ground, and take your hip back. As you're taking your hip back, your hip's turning, you're going to actually hinge or flex into your hip a little bit.
Okay, right? Yeah, when I do that, I feel I can get deeper into that internal rotation.
Exactly, and that's what we're wanting to do. As you do that, a lot of people that are tight right there are going to feel a stretch or a load or tension on the outside of the hip and buttocks, and that's what we're trying to actually stretch in this case.
Yep. Now, you say stretch, but we're not actually doing some stretches. We're actually just activating.
Yeah, we're not doing a passive stretch. Here's the cool thing. We're doing an active stretch, meaning that the muscles that are going to turn you there around your core, they're getting stronger as we're stretching at the same time. So we're working on strength and stretching at the same time.
Love that. Yeah, and guys, I can really feel my glute activating on the right side. I can really feel I'm getting into that right hip. And the angle, the 45-degree angle of that band is giving me a good directional awareness of where I need to drive that band back. So that's super important. If I didn't have that awareness, I probably wouldn't be able to load that hip as well as I am right now. And like he said, the deeper I get into flexion, can actually feel that thing loading a lot better. Very good. So when do you recommend I do this?
Each day, before you go practice, before you go play, spend 5 minutes doing activation drill on the right hip and left hip.
Okay, and obviously with the POWERCORE 360, there's different tension levels of resistance. Gradually try to up that as I...
Yes, most adults are probably going to start with like the black or the orange band, and then bigger, stronger guy like you is going to start with the orange and probably go to the red. But most guys are going to start black or orange.
Yeah, and we were just having a conversation. This is so important because if you don't load this in the backswing, it's not going to fire in the downswing. You had some interesting thoughts into that.
Yeah, I mean, your glutes is really what we're loading and stretching. That stretch you're feeling is your glute, one of the biggest, strongest, most athletic muscles in the body. There's a huge power source. But if you don't get deep in your hip and don't get it stretched, you got nothing you can do but come over the top with your hands and arms. We're looking for power. We want the hips to start the downswing. We got to load into it for it to do its job.
Love it. And the cool thing about this is we are in a driving range here today, so Billy is kind enough to hold the band. But the POWERCORE 360 also comes with anchor attachments. So you can anchor this to a door, you could anchor this to some type of railing. It's very versatile. This is something that I travel with. Really highly recommend you guys give this a try. All right guys, if you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button. If you guys have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would greatly appreciate that. It alerts you every time I release new content. Be sure to check out POWERCORE 360 on their channel. They got a lot of awesome content. This dude is super smart, and I'm super happy he's sharing some of his knowledge with me. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.